children, and welcome! We are here to tell you a story full of surprises about animals, nature, and a child who loves adventure. Raphael, known by all as Raffi, was a very curious child who loved to go around to observe nature and the world around him. Not far from Raffi's house stretched a dense, dark, and mysterious forest, where a peculiar path could be glimpsed between the stump pine and the dwarf palm. One fine day, the boy decided to go into the wood to discover its hidden secrets. He filled his backpack with a sandwich, a water bottle, his beloved camera, and the small wooden flute he had built with his grandfather Frederick. It might be useful to communicate with the birds in the woods. Off he went on his journey. Shortly after, he found a green meadow bathed in the early morning sun. It was then that Raffi took out his musical instrument and started playing a few notes. He soon realized that another sound was echoing him. Raffi could not understand where the sound was coming from, but he had no doubts who was singing. A cuckoo was hiding somewhere. That kind of bird wasn't very comfortable with human presence, but Raffi hoped that the bird would trust him and come out into the open. And so it was. The cuckoo and the child conversed with music for a while, becoming more and more at ease with each other, until Raffi began to respond to the bird's call by clapping his hands and moving his feet like a dance. Raffi had studied the cuckoo well and knew that he was considered a bully by other birds. It is said, in fact, that he was born in a nightingale's nest. And as soon as he came out of his egg, he pushed the other eggs out. So, as soon as the performance was over, the young boy asked the bird, "Well, you're very good at singing, but rumor has it that your behavior wasn't as admirable." The cuckoo lowered his beak and replied, "You know it too. I was abandoned in a nest when I was still inside my eggshell, and somehow I tried to survive. Since then, everyone avoids me, and I suffer a lot for this. My only comfort is to sing alone." Raffi was struck by what he had heard, especially because it was clear how sorry Cuckoo was for his behavior. He thought about it a little longer and decided that Cuckoo should make better use of his musical abilities. He should organize concerts for the other birds, rather than always be singing alone. By doing so, he could be appreciated for his musical talents, while the mistakes of the past would be forgotten. Cuckoo welcomed the proposal with a little fear, but the desire not to feel alone was so strong that he decided to try, and, thanking for the help received, flew away. went on his way, thinking back to the curious encounter he had had and the pleasant musical dialogue, with a deeper understanding of the cuckoo's loneliness. However, it was not long before a new call caught the young explorer's attention. He turned and, posing on a steep cliff, stood a beautiful specimen of Hoopoe. Not at all bothered by the presence of the human, she really seemed to be standing there to be admired. So Raffi was able to take beautiful photos from all angles. Suddenly he heard, "Hey, you will have to tag me on Baxtergram. You can tag #HoopoeSplendid. I've got so many followers." At first, Raffi was truly astonished. The Hoopoe had asked him to be tagged on Baxtergram, the most popular bird social network in the world. Raffi managed only to nod, remaining speechless. Suddenly, the Hoopoe took off saying, "Watch out! It's time for the lion's lunch!" And she flew into a tall tree to observe poor Raffi. The boy was very frightened and shouted, "Help!" while trying to climb a pine tree. He certainly hadn't considered the presence of a lion in that wood. Failing to climb, he ran in all directions until he tripped over a root and found himself on the ground in the middle of a puddle. In that instant, however, he noticed the laughing Hoopoe looking at him from her branch, chanting, "I have fooled you, silly little poo-poo." He immediately understood that he had been deceived by the bird. So he found a stick nearby and started chasing the Hoopoe to hit her. "Come on, don't get angry. It was just a game after all." But one knows how easy it is for a bird to get to safety when chased by men. Just fly a little higher than their nose. Raffi resumed his journey, still a little angry after the meeting with the Hoopoe. He was beginning to feel a bit tired, and to give himself strength, keeping rhythm with his stick on the ground. At one point, he heard another sound, faster and more rhythmical. He stopped and listened carefully. The sound never stopped and steadily kept time like a rock drumbeat. He had no doubt. It was a woodpecker. In fact, perched on a sturdy oak, a beautiful specimen of a red woodpecker was clearly visible. He couldn't resist the opportunity to pick up his flute again and let himself go in an engaging duet. The music didn't last long because the bird stopped drumming and said, "Wow, you are doing well, baby. But if you don't mind, I'm not having fun. I'm busy." Raffi replied, "Sorry, I didn't want to disturb you, but I really like your rhythm." "Look, I have no time to waste," resumed the woodpecker. "I have to prepare the nest for my family, and this wood is very hard, but I do not give up. The position is perfect for it, and when I decide to do something, I don't give up until I get it done." In that instant, a crow approached the woodpecker and yelled at him, "When will you stop beating on that trunk? You have been going since dawn. We can't take it anymore." The irritated woodpecker replied, "Leave me alone. I have to work." Indeed, that drumming, in the long run, was disturbing the peace of the forest. The child tried again to speak to the bird. "Forgive me, I don't want to bother you, but can I suggest that you occasionally rest so the woods can have some peace?" A little annoyed, the woodpecker replied to Raffi, "Listen, dear boy. All the greatest dreams require a lot of work and perseverance. I need that nest, and I will go on until I have finished. Remember, he who hesitates is lost." It was clear to Raffi that he would never be able to convince him. So, deep in thought, he resumed his walk, keeping time with his stick. The path was less and less obvious, and he began to lose confidence and feared losing his way. He tried not to panic and decided it was time for a break. A sandwich would help him think about what to do. he stopped near a pretty stream. Sitting on a comfortable and welcoming stone, he ate his lunch, still thinking about the woodpecker and how busy he was with his work. He dozed off. Half asleep, he dreamed of being on a stage with a chorus of 1,000 birds of different shapes and colors, intertwined in polyphony and engaging rhythms and fluttering left and right under his direction. Someone flew right next to him, very close, perhaps too close, so much that she woke him up. Here is the lark, who, landing near him, said, "Good morning." "Good morning," replied the boy, still a little asleep. You know, taking a nap after eating is an excellent habit, but digestion must be taken into account. Sometimes it makes you have bad dreams. Anyway, I'm the lark. Nice to meet you. I am known as the messenger of the dawn and the bearer of good news. How can I help you?" she asked Raffi. "It's amazing. You really bring good news. You know, I think I'm lost. Maybe it's because I'm tired, or it could be the fault of that prankster Hoopoe who made me cross." I understand. I think I can be of assistance. My presence is never accidental. I will lead you to those who can really help you. But first, you need to dance to the music and relax. "For real? Fantastic!" Raffi exclaimed. And he let his new friend carry him away. After the party, the lark showed him the path to follow, advising him to always be polite and respectful, as he was going to meet a very important bird. Raffi had the realization that, as he had always imagined, everything worked perfectly in the woods. It appeared there was someone there to organize everything. Could it be the bird he was about to meet? Suddenly, he heard in the distance a roll of drums and some voices saying, "Long live the king! Stand at attention! His Majesty the King!" On hearing those sounds, he knew that something important was happening. He walked towards that direction and saw a group of starlings playing on little makeshift drums, while others loudly hailed the king. And suddenly the king arrived. Raffi gasped when he saw that the king was such a small bird he could have held him in his hand. He remained motionless, waiting until His Majesty said to him in a firm voice, "Who are you? What do you want?" "I apologize. I am a boy and I live not far from the wood. I am a great lover of nature. I am so honored to talk to you, even though..." "Even though what?" the king retorted, a little irritated. Given the perfect order of your kingdom, the respect that everyone shows you here, well, I would have expected at least an eagle, not a little wren." The king laughed wholeheartedly, followed by his subjects. "It's an old story, and you should know it. The eagle and I had been competing for the title of king for some time, but I won the final race by jumping on his back without him even noticing. I won the race and the title of king." He continued, "Dear boy, remember well that physical strength is not everything in life. More important are knowledge and respect of others. Never forget it. But tell me, what brings you to me?" Well, I think I am lost, and I would like to go home." "A little inexperienced explorer. It is not wise to go into the woods without knowing the way. However, you are lucky. This time we will help you." In a blink of a wing, the whole group took off. A massive swarm circled in the sky, drawing splendid geometric shapes, at times elongated, at other times more rounded. They soon turned into arrows to indicate the right direction. Raffi, still excited by the meeting, started running to follow the signs, trying to take some photos of those spectacular drawings in the sky. In a short time, he found himself between the stump pine and the dwarf palm. He took his flute in his hand and began to play a splendid melody to which the starlings answered in chorus as if to greet him. soon as he got home, he dashed himself into his room and, closing his eyes, saw all the characters again. He thought of the cuckoo, if he would really become a singer, and of the Hoopoe, a little prankster who was always so careful of her appearance that for millennia she has been represented for her beauty. He also thought of the woodpecker and his perseverance. He remembered his good fortune in meeting the lark with her wish to party. And finally, the king Wren, so small but confident and willing to help those in need. He was particularly impressed by how the king was loved and respected, because he loved and respected others. In short, there was something to learn from all the little birds in the forest. If humans would realize this, their cities would probably work better too, just like the woods he had just visited.